Hi there, everybody. This is Scammy, and welcome to a very special episode. Well, you kind of seen it like on one of my Indianapolis videos where I took a bus to the racetrack. We're going to do this here in Richmond. So right now we're at Willow Lawn. We have to take the 91, which will take us directly to the racetrack. Willow Lawn itself is a pretty massive shopping complex, and trust me, this is like not all of it. There's even more like behind. So the bus that I'm going to take is going to take a while. With that being said, I will show you a couple of graphics to show you all the routes that can be accessible to Richmond Raceway. To get to Richmond Raceway, there's two routes that one can feasibly take. The first one is GRTC Route 91, aka the Laburnum Connector. I said the Laburnum Connector. The first weekday departures start at 6 a.m. at Willow Lawn and 5:55 at White Oak Village. More or less, it's a 30-minute ride to get to the racetrack. Also, need to mention that on Saturday the earliest departures is at 7 a.m. for both sides, which, okay, that's understandable. And on Sundays, the first departures on both sides will be at 10 a.m. Which, as someone who lives in the northern part of Virginia, that is quite rare. When leaving the racetrack, the final departures on weekdays will be at around 10:45 p.m. Meanwhile, on the weekends, it'll be at 10:10 p.m. It's not ideal because night racing at Richmond can sometimes go quite long. The second option does require a lot of walking time and also walking on places where there is no sidewalks, but you will be greeted by the GRTC Route 3A, B, and C. They don't deviate as much, thankfully, and to simplify everything, the 3A ends at Lone Street and Harwood, nearby the Warehouse District. The 3B ends at the Brightport Community College, and the 3C ends north of the Community College at a Food Lion. The last departures for the 3C will be at 12:05 a.m. on weekdays, pretty good, and 11 p.m. on the weekends. Now let's take a closer look. There are 6 stops of significance. Eastbound you have Delmont and Meadowbridge. Delmont stops close to the Family Dollar, and Meadowbridge stops past a McDonald's. Meanwhile, westbound you have Meadowbridge and Wadey. The westbound Meadowbridge stop is on a grassy mound for some reason, and the Wadey stops at a church with the aforementioned Family Dollar being on the other side of the road. For the 3, you do have to walk about 20 to 30 minutes southbound on Meadowbridge Road. Then you will make a turn on Patrick Avenue, or if you want to, you can walk further down Highland Street, where you will find a bus shelter. Keep in mind, Meadowbridge Road is not really pedestrian friendly. So yeah, it's somewhat functional, but not really ideal. It helps mitigate traffic and it prevents drunk people from getting in an automobile. Nighttime improvements, and hopefully we'll see that in the future. But anyways, here is me on the bus now. But for now, it's like quite a long ways away. Not that long though. It is a little bit stroady, but during like the cup race, they do mitigate the traffic to allow people who are doing some traveling from one side to the other. They have some cops there to mitigate that foot traffic. And also, if you're not going too far, there's a bus stop over there, and then you can go forward, like say on that side. Anyways, we're crossing the road. The only cars that can go through will be the race hall transporters, because they have to leave to I-95 for logistical reasons. So that means these two bus stops becomes obsolete and they have to deviate somewhere else. I did not realize that, and then I had to take a $40 Uber. Well, first I have to wait at least 2 hours for the fares to calm down, but yeah. Here we go, night 1 of 3. Finally made it to the track. Yippee. And so we begin night 1 of auto racing action at Richmond Raceway. These interesting looking cars are called modifieds. Back in the day, NASCAR's Premier Cup Series strictly required all cars to be based off the factory, no modifications. So they created a different series to allow such crazy modifications, hence the word modifieds. Nowadays, they look like F1 cars with a NASCAR style body, and they typically race around more shorter ovals like Richmond Raceway. And they typically run around 1 hour to maybe an hour and a half and some change. I had a lot of fun enjoying this race. There weren't that many incidents, and overall we get to enjoy some clean racing for the most part. Craig Lutz is the winner of this race. Alright, that was a very fun race. Honestly, note Austin Dillon moments. Yeah, just a couple of incidents that were mostly done by the driver itself, unfortunately. Maybe just a little bit of a bumper tap and that's it. But it's fun. Now I'm going to see if I can run to the GRTC bus stop and see if I can make it. If not, then oh well. So there is good news. We're going to use the 3 rather than wait here for an hour. So what's going to happen is I'm going to cross this road. Of course, if you've seen the last video, there is no sidewalks until I skip past a creek. And then I'll take one of the 3s to one of the Pulse stations. Then from Pulse we go to my hotel. There we go, finally 3C to the Pulse Alrighty, now I got off the 3C, now on to find a toll station.
A few moments later. The next day.
There he is, next to the Telcel car. 71, DC's Lord and Savior, Raja Karu. And so we begin night 2 of some awesome action here at Richmond Raceway. This time it will be for the NASCAR trucks. And as the name implies, these are pickup trucks in a version of a NASCAR stock car. It was a concept that began in the early 90s when off-road trucking was at its peak, and then NASCAR really wanted to buy into it. They began hosting exhibition races in 1994 and 1995. It really grabbed a lot of popularity, and later in 1995, they formally launched their official championship season. They initially started in short track similar to modified, but they closely became a third tier series for the NASCAR pyramid, and they began going to more larger tracks. So it's a very unique series with its own dedicated fan base, and it makes a pretty good developmental league. Winner of the race was Corey Haim, not the late actor. That was awesome. Now, I don't think I'm going to make it for the 19, so we'll see where this goes. Either I walk or we'll take a lift. Now, this was the bus that I was referring to, Z19, heading to the Dumbarton short pump corridor. I was quite well away, and that point it was long gone. So that only meant one thing. Alright, you don't see me just because of how bad the lighting is, but I am walking on West Broad Street, below on to the Dumbarton area. Supposedly it's a 48-minute walk, but in Gammy metrics, that's about 30-ish minutes. Especially now that I've got a bunch of caffeine in my system. But yeah, I'm literally channeling my inner Miles in Transit doing this. It's fine that I could do this like in Fairfax County in the DMV, but here, I don't know the place though. It all works out. Alright, medium. Nearby, like up Burlington, all of these, so I'm super close to crossing the bridge next to the interstate highway, which that's a good sign. What I'm doing right now is going to cross the I-64 bridge. Once I pass through that, it should be where the hotel is at. But yes, it's gonna be such a trick to pull. Hopefully it all works out. All right, what I'm about to do not attempt to do this, what I'm doing right now. Literally going to try to cross the ice. This part. All right, I did it. I did it. Okay. Very hard to see, but oh, I can hear some Notre Daniel music, but fuck. I'll show you in the map what I did, but yeah, I can see the Waffle House nearby, so we're risky gams, risky gams. Now you're looking at the risky gams. Yep. We're still not out of it yet. Yeah. GRTC, please add more frequency. Freedom is frequency. Thank you. All right then. I'm now in a safe spot. Yeah, just a little bit breathless. A little high on anxiety, adrenaline. But thank goodness I can just sleep. All right. All right, this is a update. I'm here at my hotel. Thankfully, my voice is currently quiet because my mom and my sister are currently asleep. But we made it.
The next day.
Alrighty, I got off at Delmont, the stop right there. Good course of action because right now, like, traffic is as what you would expect for a very large event, like the Cup race. So this gives me King Street vibes. It's like well managed, well choreographed. And my goodness, like, finally made it to the racetrack. I'm gonna see, hopefully that my seat does not get taken over there. But otherwise, here we go, the vibes are here.
And here we are, the main event. This is the Cookout 400 for the NASCAR Cup Series. And I gotta say, I was a little bit nervous hoping that this would sell out, because NASCAR got rid of their spring date, and my goodness, it did pack the house. Hopefully we can get 2 races in the future, but my goodness, this was such an amazing show. And the clouds thankfully covered most of the track until sundown, so we weren't like pelted with that sun. And I gotta say, the crowd was extremely energetic, really hyped up. Overall, the racing was awesome. No major incidents except for a pileup that only took out maybe 1 or 2 cars, but that's it. And funny enough, Austin Dillon won the race. Thankfully, he did it very clean. So overall, it was such an awesome time. I do want to come back for a 3rd year in a row because it will be their 80th anniversary. Though it's still up in the air because I know as of this recording, the Cup Series released their schedule, so I have an idea of where I could go. Still waiting for IndyCar to release their schedule. So we'll see in 2026.
Finally did it clean. Thankfully that race went really well. And yeah, I don't mind being egged on after like all that shenanigans from last year. Yeah, that was a fair race. That was clean. So right now it's insanely expensive to get a lift. Talking $30 to $40 to wait for 45 minutes. I'm gonna let it simmer down. It's just hectic. Just learned today that there are GRTC shuttles being applied to this, so this is peak.
Eventually.
So this is basically just another case of Gamey didn't do his own research. But then again, how is it my fault if they kept it vague? Anyways, right there's the Amazon Fulfillment Center. Pretty big place. So, can't really do much now. I'm just gonna see what I can do. So I generally don't know what to do now. What is the best course of action, because all the Uber and Lyft rides are being taken. So everything's like say extremely expensive, like around $50 and stuff like that. And yeah, I'm literally in the middle of nowhere now. With this decision that I made. So
then it came to me that I realized that I could actually walk into a small shopping complex further south where I can actually take a lift a little bit more earlier than waiting at the McDonald's nearby the racetrack. So this does work, though the area is very poorly lit.
alright then, so this is probably going to be my last clip, probably until I come back to the hotel. But good news, I did get an Uber in. So somehow it works out. I mean Lyft. Uber's way too pricey. Here we go, we made it home. Yes.
And there you have it. That is the good, the bad, and the stroady of Richmond's transit system at night. I generally hope for a growth in service for the GRTC in Richmond. I also do believe that motorsports and transit can definitely go hand in hand. Along with fellow YouTuber rallying for transit, I do believe that there is still like a very growing contingency of both racing and transit fans alike. Let's put more cars on our racetrack and more transit vehicles on the roads. And with that being said, be sure to leave a like and a comment and subscribe for more. Have a great day.